Now.
Showing you that he just literally walked in.
Yeah. Well, I'll let this little chit-chatting going on for the next.
That's foible, you know, when you chat like that.
Chit-chatting?
I think it is, yeah.
I think they're talking about cars.
Oh,
Muscle
well,
cars.
ask our,
70s muscle.
ask our consigliere there, if that's a foible conversation.
I don't think two trustees can have a conversation.
If it's not a majority of a quorum of
If
a,
they're not on
of a
the same
committee. Are they? I don't know.
Depends on what they're talking
And
about.
if, since a quorum in our three-person committees is two, if I talk to myself,
It's exactly right. It's
it's
exactly.
a majority of a quorum.
I find myself in all kinds of trouble.
Oh, yeah, whack that hammer.
Can we get going? Yes. Okay. Good evening. I will call the meeting of the Village Board to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Gus. Here. Trustee Jensen.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Addison.
Here.
Trustee Siddick.
Here.
Trustee Wells. Attorney Averallo.
Yeah.
Revelo. I'll get it.
I'm here.
Exactly.
Mayor Hucker.
Here.
And Clerk McDonald is present.
All right. If you would rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anyone state your.
Okay, first up, we have public comment for agenda items. If anyone would wish to address the board on any items that are listed on our agenda, you're welcome to come to the podium and speak. If not, there will be a second opportunity at the end of our agenda. Don't all get up at once. All right, we will move on then to our consent agenda, which includes the following two items: approval of the village board regular meeting minutes from June 23rd of '22, and bills presented for payment in the amount of $342,610.69. Is there any item that the board would have us consider separately?
Move approve, Mayor.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve from trustee Jensen, second by trustee Miller. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gus.
Aye.
Trustee Jensen.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Addison.
Aye.
Trustee Siddick.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Motion carries. All right, now this, I'm a little nervous tonight because I've not seen so many agenda items under the mayor's report. So I think staff is checking to see if I'm sane or something. But anyway, first up, it is my distinct pleasure, and I could go on and on about how happy I am to hear that Donna Perez is celebrating 25 years of service to the Village of Beach Park. Now, obviously, I'm preaching to the choir here because you all know Donna, but I just thought I'd take a minute and share a couple of thoughts about Donna and the job that she's done. I've not known an employee of the village that has taken so much pride in her responsibilities that she meets and greets every resident, every person that walks in the door with a smile, with a how you doing. It's a friendly conversation, which I think goes miles towards making their reason for being here, good, bad, or ugly, that much better. I remember Donna sharing with me once that Mayor Jensen had given her a pin that, what did the pin say? I'm testing you now. But it basically was a recognition of that same sentiment, that she was cheerfully doing the job and doing it with a smile. Donna has been here at Beach Park. She started 25 years ago. She has done had numerous responsibilities over those years. single-handedly, at one point, running the building department. Um, But always front-facing, always customer-facing. And we always get kind words and comments from our residents about the happy interactions that they have. And I can't emphasize that enough. I've been to more village halls than I would care to admit, transacting business with getting building permits and the like. And I've had everything from smiling, happy faces to people that you would think that I was there to ruin their day. And the fact that I walked in the door was the biggest inconvenience that they've ever had. And they treated me just like that. It's unforgivable. It's not what you should have in public service. And I think, Donna, I think a lot of other municipalities and other employees of those municipalities could take a lesson from you about how to do it right. So we have a little certificate of recognition, and I'll read that. It's just presented to Donna Perez with sincere gratitude and appreciation for 25 years of service to the Village of Beach Park, presented this 14th day of July. And I have some flowers here as well. So let me come around. And does someone have a camera phone I'm sure the family's going to have a few, so maybe we'll do that. Thank you.
I'm sure everyone here has a camera phone.
Oh, now we got volunteers.
True, true.
Thank you so much for what you do. All right.
Wow. And I can tell you that I've been on the board for a few years. I haven't been around as long as you, but through the years, I have heard many people complain about the village administrators, the public works directors, the building and zoning people, and the likes. But the only person I've never heard a complaint about is you.
Oh,
It's true.
well, there you go.
I'll second that. Absolutely true. Anybody tells me they had a phone call interaction with you, with Donna Perez, and I think, okay, I'm not going to get yelled at by this person because they probably had a good experience. No, with all sincerity, that's the vibe you give off, and we're very grateful for that.
So now the real question is, are we going to be talking to you at 30 again, or?
Or are you retiring?
We do have a 5-year notice requirement, so you better let us know quick.
As long as the flowers are alive, she'll be good. When the last petal falls off, or something like that.
All right, well, then we'll move on to less exciting business. Next, we have a resolution number 13, a resolution approving a contingency fee agreement with Seeger Weiss LLP and Franks Gherkin, Ponitz, and Greeley for legal services. By way of explanation, this relates to the litigation with regards to Monsanto and PCBs, as the board is intimately familiar with. You have attached to that the fee agreement and the request that was made by whomever to exclude the base amount has been included in that agreement. So with that, do we have a motion to approve Resolution 13?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Miller with the motion, Trustee Addison with the second. Discussion. Yes.
These things stink, in my opinion. It's three-piece extortion. But we don't dare miss an opportunity to extort funds on behalf of the village.
I won't say that I disagree with you, but as our discussion, that conclusion seemed to be
We did this with cigarettes, we did it with opioid,
Yep.
we did it with Facebook, we did it with Google Photos, you know, it just. Now, this lawyer here is not one of that group, but
Yeah.
there are a lot of them out there that, these class action guys. Thank you. Okay.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Jensen,
I guess.
Aye.
Trustee Miller,
Aye.
Trustee Trustee Addison,
Aye.
Trustee Siddick,
Aye.
Trustee Wells,
Aye.
and now Trustee Gus.
Aye. All right, motion carries, I guess.
I guess.
All right, moving on. We have our resolution recognizing the village mission, core values, and operational priorities. This is a kind of a hybrid from our initial core values that we've carried for years, as well as operational priorities. In the summary there, did staff want to add anything to what's otherwise pretty obvious?
Yes, and nothing to add, other than, you know, this was the offshoot of what we presented at the priority session.
Yeah.
and
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the
I will give you that
resolution?
motion, Mayor.
We have a motion by trustee Jensen, second by trustee Gust. Discussion.
I'll speak up again. I really like this document. Staff did a really nice job, whoever the author or authors were, of summarizing what we all agreed on at our priority session. And they avoided some of the language that's in vogue these days, the buzzwords that people tend to throw into these things that don't really mean a lot. It's a very good description of the sentiment that the board expressed at our priority session, so I appreciate the work.
Okay. Any other discussion? No? All right. Roll call, please.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Addison,
Aye.
Trustee Siddick,
Aye.
Trustee Wells,
Aye.
Trustee Gus. Trustee Jensen.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. And next up, sadly, I'm going to read a resolution that was put together recognizing the reality of the situation on July 4th in Highland Park. And this is, we're in a strange time, no question. And we continue in a broken world that has this as some of the features. But whereas as of on July 4th, 2022, our friends and neighbors in Highland Park experienced, I'm going to have to get new glasses, a senseless and tragic shooting, whereas innocent lives were taken and many others were injured. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Beach Park, Lake County, Illinois, as follows. The Beach Park Village Board extends deepest sympathies to the city of Highland Park and the greater Highland Park community following the tragic shooting that occurred on 4th of July parade. We condemn this violence and are heartbroken for the victims and their families. As a community, we extend our heartfelt support to all those who have been and will forever be impacted. Our community grieves with you, we support you, and we stand by you and those whose lives will be forever changed. The Village of Beach Park is committed to doing what we can to stop these senseless shootings. We stand together with their neighbors in Highland Park, approve this 14th day of July. So I would like a motion to approve the resolution if,
Second.
we have a motion by trustee Gus, second by trustee Siddick. Discussion.
As an employee of the city of Highland Park for 35 years as of the end of this month, it's amazing how the communities come together, but more so, I was impressed and appreciative of course, police and fire who were present on the scene, because the parade, they went toward the gunfire, as did off-duty medical people who were in the audience there, and citizens, not knowing if there were more gunmen in the area, if it was a lone shooter or if it was done. They rushed to the aid of these injured people, so a lot of respect for those folks.
Amen.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and just say I have 100% support for a federal ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. That's my own personal feeling, has nothing to do with my position here, but I just, I see no reason for a civilian to own them. I think they're way too accessible and far too available to people that have no business getting them in their hands. And, you know, I have great respect for the mayor of Highland Park and the way she rallied to the forefront for her people and really, you know, acted as a voice for them and across the nation. Now, I think this is one of the events for me personally. I'll remember where I was when I heard that news, that there was a shooting at the 4th of July at a parade. And then when I heard there were 2 people shot, you know, and it just kept escalating and escalating. It really brings it home. And, you know, we don't have that all surrounding comfort that we used to have. It's just not here anymore. And it's a very sad situation, but it's the reality we have.
Yep. We're a step away, you know, from that type of activity. Regardless of the type of weapon that's being used, we've had, I have to stop and count now, 29th Street, 33rd Street, North Shore Avenue, and most recently,
Winona Wakefield, somewhere out there.
Cornell,
Cor-
what was it?
what was the one in Paddock? No,
Hendy?
Indy, the
Cornell?
one that just happened?
Garrity and Howard, I thought.
Gary-
Howard.
Howard, that's right, by our park. And-
Yeah.
And
Not good.
these are not people just driving by and shooting one round. In some cases, there's 30, 40, all aimed at supposed former gang members. I don't know. I can't understand the dynamic of what's going on, you know, at least in that situation, whether you think it makes sense or not, there's a reason. I don't know that we'll ever hear a reason for what took place at that parade. And, you know, much like what happened up in Waukesha, a jerk with a vehicle and had about the same impact.
And you won't find a place with more police officers gathered together at one time than a
Yep.
parade like that, and yet this guy did it and got away with it.
Yep.
For a while anyhow.
Yep. So, yeah, certainly, it's not lost on us that, you know, it's just because it happened in Highland Park, it doesn't mean anybody's off the hook anywhere else.
No.
So,
But we want to rethink our security for our events here.
yeah, as you make the point, you know, when we have an event that, you know, we have additional police presence, but,
But life does go on. We're going to have to continue to
yeah.
do what we do.
All right. Okay, well, on that note, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Addison.
Aye.
Trustee Siddick.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Gus.
Aye.
Trustee Jensen.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. And we shall move on. Next up, we've got Finance Committee with Trustee Jensen. What have you got for us tonight?
Normally, at this time, I would announce the date of our next meeting, and I got to say, I neglected to research that this time. So I'll leave it up to Peggy to tell us when it's going to be.
It's the 27th, July 27th.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you, Peggy. Yeah. Next up, Parks and Recreation, Trustee Gust.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're moving forward with our August Fest coming up. Things are starting to fall into place, so hopefully we got an excellent turnout that day.
Good.
And what would that date be,
13th.
I think
for the record?
it's a good day.
August 13th.
I think that is the 13th.
That'd be a Saturday.
That one stuck in my head for some reason, so it must be right.
Happy anniversary.
Almost. It's a week ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Almost, but it's, yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee, Trustee Wells.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have one item for your consideration. An ordinance approving a petition for Lakeview Mobile Home Park for conditional use permit for recreational vehicle sales and service for Petite Auto and RV at 38251 North Sheridan Road. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on the conditional use permit petition of Lakeview Mobile Home Park to allow an existing commercial tenant, Petite Auto and RV, to operate a recreational vehicle sales and service business. Commission has made findings of fact in favor of the petition and has recommended approval, subject to conditions. Staff remains concerned that the nature of the business is inconsistent with the intended character of the Sheridan Road Corridor Overlay District. The business has the appearance of an RV storage lot, a prohibited use in the district. While the Planning Commission recommendation included conditions of approval, staff believes that more should be done to address the appearance of the vehicles. A draft ordinance approving the petition has been prepared for the board's consideration. The additional mitigation measure suggested by staff is condition 1D. Staff also updated condition 7 to reflect the width of the sidewalk easement shown on the Sheridan Road Bicycle Pedestrian Improvement Plan. And again, I entertain that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion from trustee, what's your name again, Wells?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll never forget old what's-his-name.
I know. I saw him just the other day. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, second by trustee Gus. Discussion? It's awful quiet.
I don't want to do all the talking tonight, but I do have some comments on this one.
Okay,
Reading through this packet 2 or 3 times, I tend to sympathize with many of the statements laid out by the petitioner. The business has been in Beach Park, functioning as it has been for decades, at this location for some 15 years. No complaints, no issues from the neighbors. I really struggle with imposing additional conditions on them at this time. Certainly there are some minor ones that I could go along with, the sign and that sort of thing. But there's a lot of subjective language I see in the preamble that trustee Wells just read and scattered throughout the documents that were provided. And that troubles me, because I think our enforcement actions should not be subjective. They should be objective, and they should follow the letter of the ordinances that are provided. And I understand that they're not comprehensive. For instance, this business, as I understand it, and I'm not familiar, I've never set foot on that property, I don't know any of the people involved, but this business, as I understand it, is primarily an internet sales business. And yeah, it's not in character with the overlay district, as was pointed out by staff, but I don't think it's necessarily something we should reject in Beach Park just because it's novel. And as far as the unkempt appearance, the appearance of a storage lot, I understand why they do, again, reading the documents. They buy these things when they're available and prepare them for sale one by one or a couple a month. So it's not a traditional automobile lot. It's not going to look like one. Personally, I'd like to see it on a larger parcel, but we deal with what we've got. I think it's certainly preferable to a vacant lot. We've got enough of those on Sheridan Road.
Sure.
And I'm troubled discouraging a viable business, whether or not it's a tax generator. At least it's a viable business and helps to. There was concern about the appearance and bringing down the value and the attractiveness of the corridor. I think just the opposite. It does more than a vacant lot to have a viable business there, even if it's an unconventional one. So I'd prefer to see, rather than a 1-year conditional use, of longer, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They've been fine with no problems all these years. Why make them come back in a year?
okay.
I have a question for Mr. Jennings. So trustee Jensen just raised a potential issue. He said he thinks your language is a little subjective in your analysis. Can you explain to us, are we following the letter of the law as the codes provide for the village?
So I guess to the subjective nature of the comments, the purpose statement for the overlay district, and then the types of permitted uses and conditional uses, I'm combining those two things to try to get a sense of the character that was intended when the overlay district was approved. All of the permitted uses tend to be dealing with the public. The storage that I mentioned is a prohibited use. They tend to be service businesses or retail businesses, restaurants, that sort of thing, that deal directly with the public. So in reviewing the conditional use standards, my suggestion is that at the time of the Plan Commission hearing, more should be done to help this business fit into the character of the area around it. The one condition that I had suggested adding was actually something that the Plan Commission did discuss with them. For whatever reason, the commissioners didn't include it in their vote. But the idea of having some sort of visual cue, the make and model of the vehicle, pretty common in automobile sales. So just something to make them look a little bit more like they're for sale and less like a rental storage lot. So while I'm speaking, I want to point out one other thing. The condition 3 deals with the striping plan. There are 2 items in as a condition of approval to modify that striping plan. As an oversight, there actually should be a 3rd there. I had mentioned the fire department suggesting modifications to ensure emergency vehicle access, the ADA spot for customer, and the 3rd item should be to ensure compliance with the zoning code in general, that the dimensions of the parking stalls and aisle should comply with the requirements of the code. So my suggestion, if the board would be in favor of that, would be to add that item C to the ordinance.
Okay.
3C.
Thank you. Honestly, I didn't know what this business was for all these years.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I thought it was storage. I never knew they were selling anything, so.
As to the term, could you address the rationale of the 1 year versus the 3 year versus why we?
At the Plan Commission hearing, there was a request by the petitioner to consider an expansion. They had originally submitted 2 site plans. Because the petitioner's request was for the expansion, I had suggested to the commission that in cases where there's a possible change of the nature of the business or the site plan, that it might be good to do a shorter term, see how the restriping, see how these minor modifications go, and then consider the expansion at a later date as a site plan change. So that was where the 1 year came from. It wasn't specific to just ending it after a year. It was more when would be an appropriate time to talk about changes.
If the term was extended and an expansion was proposed, that would still put them back to another hearing?
Well, the discussion at the Plan Commission was that it would be a site plan review, but not a full public hearing.
Okay. Okay. All right, I just want to make sure I understand that. I see someone raising their hand. Could you, we don't normally take comment, this isn't a hearing. Could you identify who you are and? Okay. Mm-hmm.
We've been in Beach Park since 1990. We own Petit Auto Sales that you remember the A-Freight vendor? So these are my home. Just wanted to let you know the reason why we have.
No.
Okay.
That's good. So where was I?
The reason that we have,
The reason that we have RVs that look pretty bad right now, first of all, because they're not here. None of them is right now, the place is not open right now for business. So definitely, since we had a lot of break-in, we call the police numerous times, for breaking in. They go in and they try to sleep in, or they break the glass, whatever. And a lot of times we just don't call because it's not worth it, because you gotta replace that glass, whatever it is. Or even when they went to the store, they stole a lot of tools. So when they're not around, we had to put something that is not inviting for the thieves to come in and, sleep inside, or that's number one. Number two, we had problem finding a storage for our RVs. We've been looking, we had an RV place in Kenosha that we used to take the RVs all the way to Kenosha to store them over there. We had about 100 of them, So we've been looking. Since we right now getting a little bit more squeezed in place, in storage, whatever, we had to go further, And now we're spending about $4,000 to $5,000 a month just for storage. Other areas, storage, Rest assured that we don't want, we want those RVs to sell. We don't want them, they're not for storage. But we had to put those for the time being, okay? But when they come back, no, we want to put the stuff that could be, definitely would be for sale. So we're going to do that, no doubt, definitely. But I just wanted to know why right now is the way it is, why it has been before, because we were having a real problem with finding storage area. We cannot be too far, and we have 100 RVs, These are the main thing. The other quick thing I would like to mention, yes, this put a tremendous, pressure on us financially, since, business is not pretty good, lately, I just want to raise the concern that I raised last time, and please bear with me for those who heard me before, because I've done some research in the last few days after that public hearing, the last one. The idea of having the ability for any driver to get into Lakeside lot from Sheridan, swing in and swing out right away, and 99% of them who do that, they are in rush or drunk, crazy drivers. A couple of times it happened where one of our employee almost really, he was a hair away from getting hit with a van, okay? And we've had, issues like that many times. That is extremely dangerous, especially now when I heard from the people that I've talked to, and I have to correct that issue with them when it comes to the school bus. The school bus stops on Sheridan Road. Bunch of kids come off the bus on Sheridan Road. So they walk on the side of our lot. Kids, 10, 15, whatever. If you allow a car that these people are, it's been pretty bad, unfortunately, lately, to go in and drive off on, Beach Place, the possibility of hitting these kids, very, very, very high. The possibility of hitting a customer in the store, very high. The customer of hitting someone who's there is very high, especially those people, really, I'm telling you. If he's rushing, he doesn't want to go to Beach Place and make a ride, that means he's going through us to rush. Then those people are not, they're insane, especially with all these bars around us, I like to, propose to you that, look, the 17 feet easement, I have no problem with that. Take it, we're not going to put cars over there. We don't want to do that. I genuinely say that. We don't want to do that, but we don't want accidents. We don't want to see kid flying, off the ground. We don't want to see someone hit. When you're working there, you're moving fast. You don't want to watch behind your back that there's somebody's going to come through the lot and come the other, get off the other side and hitting somebody. So we could give you our, assurance that we don't want to park our cars there. 17 feet, that's fine. But please, let's find a way where we could put probably those posts that you could put in and out, for example, so nobody can get in and swing by right away and go out on Beach Place fast, thinking that they're gonna save that second. If you could allow something like that, would be good.
We're not in a position to be changing what's been approved by the Plan Commission tonight.
Okay.
So we're not in a position to change that, other than maybe some of the less technical details. We'd have to encourage you to work with staff on those.
No, we're not changing anything. No, this
Okay.
is what was agreed
fine.
upon. Just the point that block that, in
Yeah,
some
yeah,
way. It's not
understood.
changing. All right, thank you for giving me the
Sure.
chance.
All right. To Trustee Jensen's point on timing, I guess I would ask staff if there would be an objection to extending that term to 2 years or 3 years. Is there anything that would be of concern from staff's perspective?
No, the only item of concern would be the next condition down, condition 5, would just have to be reworded to clarify that if they want to have the site plan change considered, instead of saying at the 1-year renewal, it could just say within 1 year of approval.
Yeah, okay. So within 1 year of approval. Without requiring a new hearing, okay. I would, and we're kind of, we have not made it to we've got a motion and a second, so we're going to have to adjust the motion if we take this step. But we had a recommendation from trustee to item 4 to change that from 1 year to, I heard a few different phrases there, 2, 3, 4. Do we have a number that would make sense?
I'm open to negotiation. I'll start with 5.
Do I hear 1? Do I, no. I have in my head 3 years, just because it's a reasonable stint, and if they have plans of expanding, it'll probably, would 3 meet the okay, I see nodding, and I don't hear objections.
I'll take 3.
Okay.
Excuse me,
And then-
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I was just wondering, they spoke of expansion. Are they still considering that expansion?
I'm not going to ask that question because I don't want to have another long discussion. What we know from testimony at the Plan Commission is that they have desire, but they don't have a plan today.
Okay.
So within, what they would have to do, if they come in within 1 year of the approval, then they could forego a new hearing, and would just be a site plan review. So it would, there would be a lesser burden on them than if they wait a year and a day, at which point they're back through the whole CUP process again.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So then, item 4 would change to 3 years. Item 5 would strike at the 1 year renewal and change to within 1 year of approval. And then I think we'd be in a good, and I think probably acceptable place. Motion was made by
Well, trustee Wells.
Trustee Wells made the motion. You can concur in the changes to the motion?
I take no objection.
Okay, and trustee Gus was a second, and I see your head nodding over there, you're okay with the changes? Okay. Then the motion, we'll consider the motion amended to those changes. Any other discussion? I asked that question with bated breath.
So the discussion that the petitioner just brought up tonight about like a temporary gate or a drop gate or something
We're
like
not
that.
gonna get into that.
So that's not,
We
so
can't-
this is the site plan that
That
we're
is the site
agreeing.
plan that was recommended to us by the Plan Commission. If
So-
he wants to make changes, if it can be done at the staff level, that's fine. If not,
Yeah, that's my question. How does he go about requesting that, or,
he would start with staff, and if depending on what the request actually is, then staff may have the ability to do it, and if not, then it may have to go back to the Plan Commission. So that's why I say, it's, we don't want to get into a
Yeah,
full
I-
hearing and
I agree.
Yeah, not
modification
again.
of, yeah. So I think that's our best path anyway. All right. Any further discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Siddick.
Aye.
Trustee Wells.
Aye.
Trustee Gust.
Aye.
Trustee Jensen.
Aye.
Trustee Miller.
Aye.
Trustee Addison.
aye.
Motion carries. All right. Moving on, public, oh, I'm sorry, did you have
That
anything else?
concludes my report.
Thank you. Moving on, Public Relations and IG Committee, Trustee Miller.
No report tonight.
All right. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Sedek.
Thank you. I just have one item. We'll have a public safety meeting this Tuesday, the 19th, 11 o'clock.
All right.
Upstairs here at Village Hall, if anyone's interested.
Okay. I see the chief's here. Did you,
No, I don't think he didn't really
nothing?
have anything.
Okay. Thanks for
Okay.
coming, chief.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Appreciate that. And that's all I have.
Thank you much. Public Works Committee, Trustee Addison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No items on the report tonight, but I would add that I had an update as of Tuesday. I believe our MFT pavement project is 95% done.
Yeah, we just have to finish up a few driveways.
So it's the driveway, so I saw that quite a bit of the striping is done, so the finish coat, the striping is done, and a few driveway approaches, and they're done, and we've been pleased with the progress, that we've had with the timing and everything. They're gonna be well under the allotted time limit for the project, so it's going well.
And I will add, as it's in the neighborhood, Waldo is night and day difference. Wow,
Superhighway.
what a difference.
Where's,
Yeah,
Waldo
thank you.
Where's Waldo? Between Macquarie and Green Bay. And I hardly ever go down the road, mainly because my shocks couldn't take it. But now it's actually a viable option.
Now they'll be asking for a speed bump.
Yeah. Well, we already have a stop sign.
Yeah, okay.
For,
that's a suggestion.
But that concludes my report.
all right, thank you. The Tax Increment Finance Committee met tonight. Just a discussion about upcoming modification to the agreement with Bennis and Associates about the Sheridan Road bike and walking paths. Phase 1, some changes to the Phase 1 engineering. So nothing other than that to report. Anything from staff to add to their meeting tonight?
No, sir,
Right.
thank you.
We don't have any old business on the agenda. Has anybody got any new business? All right. This would be the opportunity for citizens wishing to address the board. If anybody would like to address the board on any topic, just come to the podium and let us have it. Absolutely.
My name is Mary Jones. I'm the manager at Lakeview.
Ah,
So I'm a little confused with the 1 year versus 3 years. Do we have, if we wanted to expand on the side according to the drawing that we had from the engineer, is that still 1 year? Or do we have within the 3-year period to decide if we're doing that?
it's 1 year. If you decide the expansion is going to take place, as long as you present that to the staff with the site plan within the first year.
Okay.
The conditional use permit is extended to a total of 3 years
For the
before there
renewal.
needs to be another conditional use hearing on it.
Okay, so, but that's still 1 year for the expansion?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
That's it. And then I
Thank you.
just wanted to say how wonderful Donna is. I've been here about the same amount of years as she has, and she's always so helpful. She's always so kind. If she doesn't know something, she finds out. She's just wonderful. We just love her.
It's almost like she likes her job.
I know, right?
You know, it's kind of funny, when you stood up to come to the microphone, I almost said, you can talk as long as you're not here to complain about Donna, because we want to end this on a good note. You'd be the first, but not tonight.
Oh, boy. All right, well, we have no cause for an executive session.
Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by trustee Jensen and a second by trustee Siddick. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.